right, guys, I'm about to get out and I'm going to walk this piece of property. We've had a lot of rain over about a 2-week period. Really just 3 days of rain, but those 3 days produced a lot of rain and everything's been wet, so it's made trapping for anything other than, you know, using dog proofs and water sets for beavers and otters. It's just made it challenging. So I'm going to get out. I'm going to see if it's dry enough today to get some traps in the ground, but also I'm looking for sign, and it's very important when trapping any animal, especially coyotes. I want to find good fresh sign. So it rained yesterday. It's been really cold. I'm sure there was a lot of activity last night. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna find some fresh sign. I'll also be able to find some old sign, just because coyote scat, I'll be able to find older piles. But what I'm looking for is fresh sign. The best lure in the world is not going to pull a coyote to where he doesn't want to be. So I want to find good fresh sign, multiple sets of tracks, fresh droppings, stuff like that. Before I even put boots on the ground though, I can get on Onyx and I can look at the property, and I can find my spots where multiple roads intersect, areas where I have cover that changes, maybe a cutover to some timber, or I'm also looking for dam crossovers, pond dams, creeks. Anything that has a crossover on it is just a natural runway for animals. And I can find all that stuff, like I said, before I even put boots on the ground. But once I get out, I want to, like I said, I want to find that fresh sign. I may have a spot that looks really good, but it's completely void of sign. That doesn't mean that something won't come through there in a few days, but my high priority areas are going to be those areas that I found on the map, but that also have good fresh sign on them. So let's get out. Let's put some miles on, let's cover some ground, and let's find some good sign. So I've only gone just a couple hundred yards from the truck already, and I found tracks, and I found several piles of old scat on this road. I just found a pile of fresh scat right next to some old scat, and as I look up the road, I can actually see more. There's some old right here, and then this right here is going to be fresh again. Right there, you can see some old there next to some fresh, and there's a pile of old right here. This is going to be a good spot to get a trap in. We're at the start of a cutover. It comes out of some big hardwood timber. We've got a nice bend in our road. See, the road goes that way and curves, and then curves this way. There's kind of an old road bed right there through the pines, but the road actually curves this way around. This is going to be a great spot to drop some traps, and anytime you find scat, especially fresh scat, that's like gold, finding gold when it comes to trapping coyotes. I can take scat from other properties and use it to trap coyotes on this property, just like I could take scat off of this property and use it to trap coyotes somewhere else. Think about it, a coyote's nothing more than a dog, and where he's marked his spot, if you take your dog on a walk through a neighborhood, what's he going to do when he encounters a bush or a mailbox that another dog has already marked? He's going to sniff it and he's going to mark it for his own. So I can take that scat and I can put it down in the road, and 9 inches in front of it, or 9 inches behind it, I can put a trap and bed it. I want to blend it in real well. I could take some coyote urine and shoot it on there, and what that coyote's going to do, he's going to walk down the road, he's going to stick his nose to it and smell it, he's going to step over it, and he's going to mark it for his own. So when you encounter stuff like that, especially on properties that you're not trapping, if you're just out and about, if it's fresh, pick it up, put it in a little container, take it back, and use it to help you catch more coyotes. I'm walking down this road in this old cutover, and it's just thick and nasty in here. It's a great place for rodents, rabbits, also great cover for coyotes to lay up during the day. And here we go. Here is another fresh pile of scat. That right there, last night, you can see the tracks there. You can see where they scratched off. It's a great sign. Right here, several piles. They're not as fresh, but you can see coyotes are using this area quite a bit. And this is just a road, a straight shot through this cutover right there. All right, here's another great spot to look for when it comes to setting traps. What we have is we have a crossover, goes through a creek. Got water ponded up on either side, so this is going to be just a natural land bridge for critters to cross. Great spot to catch a little bit of everything. With the water in the creek system here, you're probably going to catch a lot of raccoons. So if you're making canine sets on this crossover, I'd drop in some DP coon traps as well to try to clean up that trash and keep them from getting into your canine sets. If you have a road like this that's covered with grass or leaves or pine straw, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad spot to trap. It's just going to be hard to find sign. You'll still be able to find scat, but tracks, they're going to be really difficult. So I tend to just kind of speed through these places because there's plenty of other spots around here where there's dirt in the roads, and I'll be able to see tracks and scat a lot more easily. I'm right here, got a road there, a road here, a road here. We've got old cutover here, open hardwoods here, and right here where these three roads come together, got a lot of grass and leaves on the ground, but just down the road right there in a dirt spot, there's a set of coyote tracks, and there's also some scratch marks where a coyote has marked his scent and then scratched off. I'm sure you've seen dogs do it, so I know it's canine. This wouldn't be a bad spot to drop some traps in where these roads come together. Coyote's going to slow down. He's probably going to take a look down each path as he approaches it, and that'll give him just enough time for your scent from your bait or lure to catch his nose, or maybe the eye appeal from your dirt hole set. He sees it and comes in to investigate. With all this grass here, these tufts of grass, there's spots that would make great backing for dirt hole sets, like here and right here. And then also with the grass, you can put in your flat sets and actually take the grass clippings and put over top of it, and those actually work well when you have a lot of wet weather. The grass clippings stay matted down over the top of your trap and conceal it, whereas, you know, if you have a heavy rain, you might have water wash over your trap and expose your pan or your jaw, and that's no good. So those grassy areas, they do have their benefit. So that intersection's big spot to stop and look, try to find sign around. They're great places for trapping. All right, right here, I've got a road that comes out of the woods and it opens up to this gas line. I caught 2 coyotes here last year, one there. You can still kind of see some of the catch circle right here. And then I caught one right here. There was a bank that was created from the disc when I was plowing fire breaks, and I was able to punch some holes in that bank, look like mouse holes, and bed a trap in front of it, and I caught one there. And already this year I can see some fresh scat here and some fresh coyote tracks in the mud right there. Just across my gas line I've got a road kind of 45 degrees here and a road that continues straight on across. Again, these intersections or these field edges where the terrain changes place, that's going to be a spot where that coyote, when he gets there, he's going to stop and he's going to take a look around. If he's stopping, there's a better chance that he's going to smell that bait or lure, or he's going to catch the eye appeal of your dirt hole set. All right, we're probably 100 yards off of that opening where the road meets the gas line that I just showed you. And right here, it may be hard to see in the camera, but there's fresh coyote tracks from last night. I even got a pretty good sized cat track right there. So this just further confirms that they're traveling this road. And again, we've got cut over here, and we've got more mature timber here. This is a great edge for these coyotes to walk, maybe wind a rodent or a rabbit over there in that old cutover, and then be able to go hunt it. When you set your traps, the best place to put them is right under that coyote's nose. So I'm finding these tracks in the 2-track where the tire would travel. And so I know a lot of you are going to be trapping hunting clubs where you may have members riding around looking for sheds. Landowners may frequent the property, and it's not feasible to set your traps in those tracks because they're going to get run over, and that can get expensive. Trust me, I know. But the most effective place to drop that trap is right under that coyote's nose, and he's showing you where he likes to travel. So if you can get it in that track, that's the most ideal spot, and maybe you get some cooperation from the landowners. There's more canine tracks right here, just right in this 2-track here, coming down this road, right where everybody would be driving. But like I was saying, hopefully you can get some cooperation from your landowners or your hunting club members and just say, hey guys, stay off the roads. For the next 10 days, I got traps out. Your numbers are gonna go up setting right in his path versus having it set off to the side. If my trap's set off to the side, which I've had to do on plenty of occasions, this wind right now, it's coming from my left to my right. If my trap is on this left side of the road, or excuse me, the right side of the road over here, that coyote may be coming along at a pretty good pace. Maybe he's looking for a mate, or he's packing a deer leg that he got off a kill. The wind's not going to blow across and hit his nose. He's not going to find that set. He's not going to see that dirt hole like he would if he literally has to trip over it. So keep that in mind. All right, I don't know if you can see it, but right there in the water, we have got a feed pile from a beaver. There's a bunch of chewed sticks there, and right here we've got a crossover coming across this pond dam that goes over here into this privet and stuff on the neighbors, and that beaver is going and cutting him some limbs and bringing them right back here and chowing down on them. So conibear set right here or a foothold on a drowner work great for catching beavers. But also on this pond dam, this is a much bigger version of the crossover that we saw back in the woods in the wet areas back there, and this thing is covered in tracks. There's deer tracks, there's coyote tracks, there's bobcat tracks, there's beaver tracks. And inevitably, if you're sitting in the tracks on these pond dams, you're gonna have deer step in your set, no matter what you're doing. I wouldn't let that stop you from setting them though. Very, very high percentage areas that you're gonna have, you know, your target animals coming through there. And this one sets up even better because we've got the old pine plantation here, thick hardwood privet bottom here, and it meets a field edge right here on the neighboring property. So we know we're going to have a lot of activity through here. A great place to drop traps. And a lot of these areas you'll be able to find on a map pre-scouting before you even set foot on the property. Looking at Onyx, you can see these intersections. You can see where the terrain changes, you know, where the timber changes, goes from open virgin timber to, you know, cut over or open field. Those are going to be the places, before I even set foot on the property, I'm going to look at those on a map, and in my head those are going to be the places that I'm most interested in. It's not to say you won't find sign in other places, but those are going to be, you know, the highlights, the high points that I hit. I've got a piece of property right next door. I'll catch 14 or 15 coyotes in a, you know, 12-day period every year, and it's 1,500 acres. And I run like 40 or 50 sets on that property. But every year I catch all the coyotes in the same four or five spots, and it's always these intersections or these logging decks in the middle of these clear cuts where you have roads that come together. So like I said, focus on that stuff. It's going to help you out tremendously. The best bedded traps with the best bait and lure, if you're not on sign, you're not going to catch. It's just as simple as that. So I'm going to keep looking, but get out there, find your sign, find your fresh sign, and set in those spots. And if it looks good enough for one trap, it's probably good enough for 2 or 3 traps. Coyotes will travel in numbers, and the more traps you have, the more chances you're going to catch that group when they come through there. So good luck to everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on the notifications so you're notified when we get new content up. We've got a ton of trapping videos. We'll link those in the description. Show you how to make different sets. Get out there, try it for yourself if you haven't done it, and good luck in tight chains.